Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Minecraft Disney World. This week we're going to be taking a break from attractions, and we're going to be taking a look at another resort. We're going to be taking a look at the Grand Floridian Resort, or it's technically called the Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Now, it's a very fancy luxury hotel. It opened on June 28th in 1988, so it actually wasn't one of the first hotels. It actually wasn't out for a long while. Back then it was called the Grand Floridian Beach Resort, and then about, I want to say 9 years later, it was renamed to Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, which, if you haven't guessed by the name, has a spa. It's a pretty big hotel. It's got 6 buildings, and there are, and I'm reading this one off a sheet, 867 rooms, which, if you think about that, a family of 4 on average trip to Disney, that's a lot of people for this resort. It's inspired by like Victorian era buildings, which sort of were built along the coast of Florida in the 19th and early 20th century, back when it was really underdeveloped. You have to remember that Florida, pre-Disney, wasn't as big or populated as it was today. It's interesting because the Grand Floridian wasn't originally going to be there or like that, but it does sort of have a connection with Walt. So originally, Walt Disney, the idea he had was that these different resorts would actually reflect the different lands in the Magic Kingdom. So, for instance, the Polynesian Resort sort of made to, I guess, visually and thematically represent Adventureland. And the Contemporary Resort, which I've covered in a past video, sort of made to reflect Tomorrowland. You know, it's called the Contemporary Resort. And in a way, this one follows in those paths. And the Grand Floridian represents Main Street, USA. So that was sort of the original idea, was there was going to be a resort for each land. It didn't actually end up going through that way. And as you know now, there are a ton of hotels at Walt Disney World, so you couldn't just do only that. But that was originally how it was going to work. And actually, the Grand Floridian wasn't going to be where it is now. That was land that was actually marked for an Asian-themed resort when they were developing Disney World in the 60s. So you can see already at that point, they were sort of steering away from Walt's idea of doing a resort for everyone. In fact, I remember reading that there were plans to do a Persian-themed resort as well. So there were a lot of different, ideas out there, and this one was the one that was eventually made. And this being 88 was after Eisner took over, so this is when you start to see the surge of growth and the heightening of prices of everything Disney World that caused it to grow into this giant resort area. Anyway, the hotel's got a couple of restaurants. For instance, it's got Victoria and Albert's, which is this really swanky restaurant. It's critically acclaimed. It's got an award-winning wine cellar. It's received the AAA 5 Diamond Award like every year for the past 10 to 12 years, I think, maybe even longer. And it's only one of 3 restaurants in the entire state of Florida to receive that award, by the way. So when you think Disney and you think, oh, it's just fast food and burgers and stuff, like, no way. It's totally got really good options. It's just you gotta find them. And in fact, I've actually heard that restaurant doesn't allow children under 10 into it anymore. So it is really meant to be high class, once in a lifetime sort of restaurant you visit. They also have 900 Park Fare, which is a buffet where you can actually meet characters, and it's sort of got characters that, in a way, fit with the Grand Floridian. So, like, you meet, like, Mary Poppins and Cinderella, not perfectly fitting within that theme, but just sort of enough. And inside that restaurant is this thing called Big Bertha, which is an organ that was built in Paris, and it was used from, like, 1900 to 1955. In an amusement park in Michigan. I forgot what it was called, but it's, like this big organ that's there. I don't know if it actually works or not. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff you could do at this resort. There's, the standard fare. Every Disney hotel sort of got pools and stuff like that. This is on the Seven Seas Lagoon, so there are boats. In fact, they have a yacht. The yacht is called the Grand One. It's a $1.5 million boat, and you could rent it. If you want to rent it, it's pretty cheap. You just got to pay about, $500 an hour for up to 18 people. So a lot of people, rich people clearly, will actually take the boat out on the water and watch fireworks and stuff like that. In any case, this has just been a really short look at another hotel. It's amazing that even something like this that doesn't have an interactive element was recreated on a 1-to-1 scale here on MC Magic. And this isn't the only hotel. There are other hotels out there that they've worked on and that they're currently working on. And the cool thing is there are ways, although I don't know, sometimes they're doing it and sometimes they're not, but sometimes you can get a room at these hotels in Minecraft and have your name on it. In any case, hopefully next week we'll go back to attractions. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it. And I hope to see you all here next week for the next episode of Minecraft Disney World. Bye, everyone.